Welcome to the latest edition of Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime with me, Marchant. Kenny, thank you so much for supporting the show early on. As you can see behind me, I don't have my normal backdrop. We're on location, but I brought a familiar painting you might recognize to use as a backdrop for this show. Well, want to get into Southern Miss athletics real quick, in particular Southern Miss baseball. They're on their third straight SBC series win, so they're really getting cooking over there at Pete Taylor Park. And in game one of Old Dominion over the past week, head coach Scott Berry got his 500th career win. So congratulations to the legend, head baseball coach Scott Berry. Well, as you know, I enjoy all the fan comments for the show, and I'm going to get into them in this next segment that we call For and Out. Well, this week on Twitter, I asked the Southern Miss Nation, how would you describe Southern Miss in 5 words? I had a lot of good answers, but I can only get to 4 of them because that's the name of this segment, For and Out. First up, at Joel McCarty 1, he says, us against the world mentality. And yes, we do. We always have this us against the world vibe and absolutely love it. Next up, Andy Barley at Stay Golden Ainge. He puts 5 great words together that I think we all know. He says, Southern Miss to the top. Absolutely. Great 5 words right there. Next up, at KWWWW18. Yes, that's a Twitter handle. They say, we don't settle for mediocre. Absolutely not. We're always striving to be the best. And finally, at Reagan Grant puts these 5 words together, and they did happen. He says, we hired Ellis Johnson. It happened. It did happen, and that was 5 words right there. Thanks, Reagan, so much. Well, as you know, this show is huge with interviews, and this next interview, I am so fired up. He's an incredible leader of young men. He's one of the most inspirational guys you'll see at Southern Miss. So with all that said, my next interview comes with head Southern Miss strength and conditioning coach, Lance Ancar. All the time in the Southern Miss world, I hear, man, these football players are getting bigger, faster, and stronger. And I promise it's not because they're eating their Wheaties. It's because all the hard work behind the scenes from our head strength and conditioning coach, Lance Ancar, one of the most inspirational guys you'll meet at Southern Miss. So, Coach, it is so awesome to have you on, man. How's the world treating you?
Oh, man, I can't complain one bit. And I appreciate you having me on. This is a blessing, just because I know how much, Southern Miss means to you, and, you pour your heart and soul into it. And man, we just, blessed to have you on our side, but it's a blessing.
Oh man, bleed black and gold, just like you, man. And maybe some people don't know, Coach Ancar and I are 2 New Orleans guys, born and raised over there. And he went to a high school, Shaw High School. I went to a high school, I'm a little bit younger than him, Jesuit High School. And they're rivals, man. Catholic League rivals from back in the day. But Coach, you said I'm one of those Jesuit guys you actually do like. So is that still true? That's still true?
Oh yeah, that's 100%. That'll never change.
All right, because the Jesuit Catholic League rivalry is a real thing, man. And but NOLA, man, just real quick, man. We're New Orleans guys, the Big Easy. I just love everything about it. What are some of your favorite stuff about New Orleans?
I think just the culture, just the way I was raised. There's so much stuff that you could get into, but just the diversity of it also, like New Orleans is a one-of-a-kind place, and football has taken me all over the place, but there's only one New Orleans. There's only one place like it, and just the fact of the Big Easy, people are so kind. We get a bad rep sometimes, and you see some of the bad things, but not too many people get to see the great side of New Orleans. And they got people there that'll, take the shirt off their back and give it to you. Just great people. You don't go hungry. They'll go out and buy you fish. We just take care of each other. We take care of our own. But just, I would say the diversity and the people that I grew up with, the people that I've been around, and I just enjoyed my time there. I think it definitely molded me into who I am today.
Man, great words about New Orleans. Beautiful city, man. I've had nothing but great times there. My wife and I love it. We visit pretty frequent, man. So, but great career there at Shaw, man. It took you to North Alabama to play football. And you had a hell of a football career. You were the Remington Award winner, which is the top center in college football for D2. You were 3-time all-conference. You're on the all-decade team for that time frame. at North Alabama, man. Your time there and just all the awesome accolades. How was that?
It was awesome. Culture shock. That's one thing about being from New Orleans. We kind of grew up fast, and going to Florence, Alabama is slow, and I remember driving up there and my parents are coming to bring me up and just the world just changing almost. You go from just a fast life, people driving fast to now, they're not going anywhere fast. There's only about 3-4 stations on the radio. So, it's just, it kind of brought me back a little bit. It was almost like going back in time. It was like time traveling, but just a beautiful place, Florence. And the people up there, great people also, they love UNA football. And it was just awesome. The people that I've met, a lot of them I'm still friends with today. Obviously, one of them. But, the thing is it was just a bunch of guys that didn't have all the accolades in the world, didn't, necessarily get highly recruited. They just wanted to play football at the next level. And just a bunch of tough guys that you would go down the back alley with. And just like you, man, you would have fit in good there, even though you fit in perfectly over here with the black and gold. But, just a bunch of guys that you enjoy being around, that love football, that had a common interest. And I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Man, that's awesome comments right there. And one cool dynamic of when you were at North Alabama, your quarterback for a couple of years there is the current head Southern Miss football coach, Will Hall. Man, you're the center. He's the quarterback. Man, how was that dynamic with you two back in the day?
Oh, man, looking back, how the dots connect and everything, man, it's crazy. But talk about a competitor. Fierce competitor, and I knew that we were going to get along, right from the jump, just because he loves football. You can see it every time he's out there coaching, that Tulane game this year, he's over there, getting the crowd pumped, so like you can tell how much he just loves the game. And that's what, it's all about to me. I want to be around guys that love football, that love to compete, that hate to lose. And, he's got every single one of those attributes. And obviously now we've, kind of grown up and came to a different phase. But, back then, golly, man, you want to talk about somebody that was just a fighter, competitor, and just loved to compete.
Man, that's a great way to put it. And I read something not too long ago and actually talked to Coach Hall not too long ago about you two were talking about building an awesome culture together one day and getting back together, bonding with him coaching, you coaching together. And sure enough, you hear it, Southern Miss doing it. But this started early, the thought, the process, the inspiration, where it all came from, man. Just talk about you two guys kind of thinking this through, what's happening in Southern Miss way back when.
Yeah, he always knew he wanted to coach. Obviously, I wanted to play ball, and that's the one thing about it. When you're 5'11" and a half playing center, not too many people will give you a shot. But, it's something that we kind of knew what a football team should look like. We knew what the guys should look like. We knew what the mentality that they should have. And, I know for a fact that he had pretty much the foundation of what he wanted the program to look like. I guarantee you back when we were 21 years old, and he, the way he is, he's so methodical with his thinking. He's so, precise with what he wants things to look like. So, I know that this is something that we've, been talking about, but I know for him, probably since high school, he's been planning this out for a long time, and I'm just glad that it came to fruition.
Well, yeah, he's somebody thinks the world of you, man. And I know the players think the world of you too. And just quick back on football right there, hell of a career at North Alabama. Man, you went to play some arena football for about 5 years there. You win an arena title while you're there with one of the teams and playing fullback, linebacker. And Coach, you're somebody, when I see you, if I think back to football, I wouldn't want to – I'd have to strap it up a little bit tighter to go against you. But talk about arena football, man. That's a tough guy sport. You're playing football, fullback, linebacker.
Well, same to you. That's the thing. You knew that there were some games and who you were going against. You're going to pop 2 ibuprofen, make sure that chin strap was right, make sure that mouthpiece was in, because, hey, it was going to be a war, and guys like you, man, we would use the whole toolbox against. I'm not going to just be one-dimensional, but golly, it was fun just to keep playing. I Obviously, it's not what you dreamed of, but the fact that I was able to play afterwards, man, and another way to meet other people. I have a whole new, I guess you would say, circle of friends just because of that experience. And just a blessing that God blessed me with to keep playing. But you knew it was going to end. You knew it was going to end. And the thing that I did was every spring I would play arena ball, and then in the fall I would coach high school ball. And I just knew that I was lining it up. But golly, it's hard to get rid of that itch, And I feel like I can still do it now, even though my body's telling me no. My mind still says, "Hey, you could go out there and give it a couple more plays." But it was great to play afterwards.
Oh, very cool, man. Yeah, arena football is such a cool dynamic, and you had a heck of a run there, man. So when football is over, you decide to get into the coaching world. I mean, you're even a position coach somewhere, but you become really a focused guy on strength and conditioning in your career right out of the Arena Football League. Man, what really motivated you, or what's some that got you strong vibes to get in the strength and conditioning world?
So the truth is ADD.
Yeah, I want the truth, Coach. I want the truth.
It's ADD, man. Obviously, I love football, and I coached football 1 year up in Minnesota State Moorhead, and it's a little D2 school. And I'm sitting there breaking down film and watching these recruits that obviously, you could tell after watching a couple plays if the guy is good, but you have to sit there in that dark room and just watch play after play. And I'm like, this ain't for me. I can't do this. I got to be moving around. I got to be coaching. And when I'm on the field, I was awesome. I enjoyed that side of it. But just the monotonous of going through and looking at film and doing all of that made me realize that I want to be around college, but maybe not in that role. And obviously, one of my big mentors, Scott Cochran, who was at Alabama, I remember watching a couple of videos of him on YouTube and saying, like, that's me. Which, speaking of another 504, John Curtis guy, but man, I was like, that's kind of the role that I can see myself in, motivating. I love the weight room and just being around college sports without having to teach a class. That was me all day. And it kind of just pulled me I gravitated towards that field.
Man, very cool. And had a heck of a run before you got to Southern Miss. I mean, you're coaching strength at Alabama, 3 playoff runs there, and won a national title while you were there. I mean, you're at Ole Miss, South Alabama as the head strength and conditioning coach. I mean, you got a heck of a resume. So that run right there, man, building up to Southern Miss, just if you want to talk about a few moments there, Bama, Ole Miss, or South Alabama.
Yeah. The one thing that is kind of the craziest thing about it is that I was writing emails and giving out my resumes to pretty much every school in the country. I guarantee you, I've written every single FBS and FCS school, and 2:00 in the morning, and you're writing the wrong name sometimes, but you're trying to get your name out there. You're trying to just get a chance. I want an opportunity. And the fact of the matter that Alabama, who's just coming off a national championship, is the one that gave me a shot. It was just a blessing. It kind of almost let me know that this is what I was supposed to be doing. And me and my wife, we left Atlanta, and I told her if she could find a job, and she was the manager at Gigi's Cupcakes, because I had to work for pretty much a year and a half without getting paid, just straight intern. And, after that, I was a paid intern making $700 a month for 6 months, and then finally got a shot to be a full-time guy. But just the way that God worked, from me going to not getting anybody to, from D2s to FCS, FBS, not even giving me a shot to, at that time, the top team in the country giving me a chance and giving me an opportunity to go do it. So it was a blessing. And, met so many great coaches, obviously working for Coach Saban. And then you had Coach Joey Jones at South Alabama, Coach Steve Campbell, who's, big time around this area at South Alabama, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. And then now, working with one of my best friends here at Southern Miss. It kind of almost all of those experiences make you who you are, to where now I feel like I can give my all because, I've been to every place and I've had to deal with pretty much every situation that you can deal with.
Yeah, and here you are now, man, as a strength and conditioning head coach at Southern Miss, and all those talks and those thoughts that you and Coach Will Hall had back in the day for building a great culture. Well, here it is, and you're building one heck of a one. You're one of those guys, man. We weren't the biggest recruits. I wasn't. You weren't. puts a chip on your shoulder. And I think that's the beauty of Southern Miss, man. We got a chip on our shoulder. We go against the norm. You know, we're going to fight and claw for everything that we need. What do you love most about Southern Miss right now?
Oh, man. I would say everything that you just said, but, you know, the foundation that you guys laid, man, the tradition, there's not too many group of 5 programs that have the tradition that Southern Miss has. Like, you know, the fact, like, you know, your show is named after our mentality. It just goes to show you that we're not scared. You know, we're not afraid of anybody. But like you said, that chip on our shoulder made us that way. The guys that we recruit made us that way. You know, we're dealing with Louisiana and Mississippi and Florida, Alabama, you know, and from there, you know, we'll try to go find great players anywhere. But that footprint is known. That's football country. And to have those type of guys that have that chip on their shoulder, along with the foundation that y'all laid and the tradition that we have, it's a special place, you know. And not only, you know, just a little small, but the black and gold, man, like that's something that's in our blood, you know, from the Saints to, you know, there's not too many colors that are better than black and gold to me. So, you know, just a lot of different things, but golly, man, what we're building. And I really think that it's something that you guys will be proud of as far as alums, that we're trying to get it back to what y'all had.
Oh, and I feel it. I mean, you know me, I believe in the system, believe in the program, everything you all are doing. And speaking of inspiration and things like that, man, you're like I said, you're one of the most inspirational guys I've ever met. You do something on Twitter called Find a Way Friday. I mean, you're walking through the Rock at about 4 or 5 a.m. Nobody else is up in Hattiesburg, but there you are, man, telling the latest and greatest inspirational quotes that you can think of. And they just come across so well, man. What got your thoughts behind getting this Find a Way Friday thing? Because it's one of my most inspired. My Fridays don't right without it. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh, well, hey, I appreciate it. But it's one of our core values, you know, and to me, it's one of the ones that I feel like no matter what you do, you're gonna have to implement that in some way. Because finding a way, that's life, you know, and obviously you're a huge find a way guy, you know, obviously with your story. But if you you know, are trying to go after something that you really want, you're going to have that moment where, should I quit or should I find a way? And that's all I'm trying to do, is just give a little inspiration on Fridays to guys that, you know, maybe going after something is them tough moments, because Lord knows I felt it. You know, there was times where when I was working for free at Alabama, I'm like, as a man, I got a little one. I'm like, hey, it's time for me to go make some money. And my wife is, hey, just keep on going, keep on going. So, you know, that find a way is something that even I struggled with. So I can imagine, you know, those guys that, you know, have to wake up early and do a job maybe that they don't want to do, you know, whereas I'm lucky, I get to do my job and I get to love what I do, just finding a way to provide and to be there for their family members, you know. So that's kind of how it started, you know, just something to give a quick little message on Fridays as a little inspiration going into the weekend and hopefully getting them through the week.
Man, I love it. Find a Way Fridays become a big thing in the Southern Miss world, man. Now, I want to have a lot more fun talking this show, and you know, people that, you know, follow football, outsiders view. I mean, they see the product on the field, they see this and that. They don't see a lot what goes on behind the scenes. When I played, I spent probably more time with my strength and conditioning coach than I did with my actual position coaches. I mean, you know, they mold me into the player that I was. One of my favorite times, and you posted videos of this, is Max Out Day. For anybody that doesn't know, that's the day when you see how much you can bench press 1 rep, how much you can squat 1 rep, and the whole, you know, team's around you. Some of them shirtless, man. It's just music's playing. Talk about Max Out Day for a football player and the mindset that you get into to see somebody push themselves past their believed limit.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of almost like game day. You know, obviously it's not the same, but it is, you know, because it's what you put in all the work for. It's why you lifted the weights that, you know, because let's face it, not every day you feel like going into the weight room, just like not every day you feel like going on the football field, but you're doing it for those moments at the end. You're doing it for a product that you're going to be proud of in the end. And one thing I always tell our guys is that you're not wasting your time, you're investing it. So when you're investing in lifting heavy, you want a payoff, you know, just like if I put my money in the stock market, I want a payoff for what I'm putting in and then some. So, you know, to see those guys pushing each other and cheering on each other. And I'm getting goosebumps right now, just thinking about it.
It's some of the best videos you'll see.
Oh man, it's just awesome because it's almost like that word that we were talking about early in the year, fear gun. You can see the fear gun, which is the unselfishness of every single guy. They getting that one guy hype to push himself and hit a number that he's never hit, and just the amount of unselfishness and team in that weight room at that particular time. You just can't beat it. It just brings you back to when you were playing, but also it lets you be proud of how far the team has come and what the work that they put in is finally paying off.
Absolutely. And Coach, you hit on a word that pops up within the organization a lot, Fergun. If you don't mind explaining that to anybody that doesn't know, because it's a big word for you guys, big slogan.
Yeah. So it's a genuine happiness and unselfishness to where you're excited about someone else, like whether you get anything from it or not. So it's almost like, I guess you would say, like a dad being proud of his son. Like you're just so proud of him, whether he cares about how you feel or not. And that's kind of the way I can kind of put it. But you're just so happy and overjoyed for someone else, regardless of what that means for you. It's just pure joy in someone else. And that's something that we just tried to preach all the time. And you need a team full of guys like that, because they're going to be guys that are making plays. But then you need those fear gun guys on the sideline to maybe pick a guy up that maybe messed up, knowing you might not ever get in the game. That scout team member that is pushing that starter to be great no matter what the outcome is for them. So it's a perfect word. I wish we had it more in this world, but it's something that Brother Mitch, and obviously everybody knows Brother Mitch, man, awesome person, but something that he talked about from the Hebrew language. And it's just something that's kind of a cry in our organization and in our program. And, you got AIE and fear gun, and, that's something that we try to, preach on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah. Building that great team culture, man. Great team players. Kind of getting into some details about strength and conditioning. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I was playing, it felt a little bit more grunt, this and that. Man, I watched an interview with you, heard an interview with you not too long ago about moving the bars fast, because the game's faster now than when I played. It is. Whereas it's not as much like, pump, this. It's, man, how fast can you get moving with everything you're doing, with every workout, whatever routine you are doing. If you don't mind talking about a little exercise science and the speed of the bar moving and just overload principles and things like that for anybody that doesn't know about training nowadays, it's different.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally different. And back when I was coming up, man, you were just going up in there and probably doing 3 sets of 10 of every exercise, and it didn't really matter. But I think that's where the game has kind of grown the most. The fact that every school has a strength coach and the emphasis that they're putting on it. But to me, it's all about creating dynamic, explosive athletes. And when we talk about moving the bar fast, it's how can you get from point A to point B as fast as you can while maintaining great technique, and still stressing the body to where it's not too light. It's almost a science behind it, to where if it's too heavy and it's not moving fast enough, you got to lighten that load. And I'm not a big percentage guy. I like to look at the speed of the bar. I'm a big eyeball guy. And if I'm seeing that bar move too fast, then, hey, we're going to load it up a little bit more, because from day to day, your body feels differently. There's some days when I go in the gym and, 135 feels heavy. Then I go some days and, 225 feels light. So, we kind of don't base this off of just a percentage. It's more on how you're feeling that day, and can we still move the bar fast while lifting heavy weights? And then from there, the next thing is just injury prevention. I always use the analogy of a car. If a car is not used to running at a certain RPM, and then all of a sudden on game day, you trying to rev it up, well, you're going to blow a gasket, you're going to blow something. So we want to make sure that throughout the week, we're slowly building up to get ready for game day. So priming you up, to where you're hitting a certain speed, certain number every single time we get out there or get in the weight room.
Man, that's interesting stuff right there, because strength training has definitely changed from back in the day when I was playing. But, people think, strength training sometimes the outside, what you see, the muscles, the fast, the speed. Man, there's a mental aspect that a good strength coach has to work on as well. What are some things to really get some guys mentally strong who may need it? What are some techniques you might do there?
Well, I think what you just talked about, there's going to be days where I want you grunting. I want you straining. I want you to, like, I don't care how the bar moves. And usually the way I kind of program is earlier in the week, we're more working on our explosiveness. You should be fresh. You're coming off the weekend. You should be feeling good. You shouldn't be sore. As we move to Friday, that's more of a grunt and condition, and you don't have to think much. You just got to strain. And, I think there's still days for that, where you got to strain it out because, you just said on the football field, hey, you might be going against a guy that's, better than you every which way. Well, how are you going to find a way to beat him? It might be in that third, fourth quarter because of you straining all the time that you're going to get a chance to get him back. But, if he's fresh and you're fresh, he's going to whoop your tail. So you got to make sure that you're still developing that side of that strain, that gutting it out. Other than that, I try to always make the weight room a sanctuary. When you come up in there, it should be strictly focused on you. I don't care about school. I don't care about your girlfriend. I don't want you to focus on any of that. When you walk through there and you cross over into that weight room, everything else is left behind. And you should make a pact to yourself that you're not going to leave the same way you came in. The other side of that is just I try to show a lot of videos. I like motivational videos, and not just motivational, but just hearing from greats. Your Kobe's, your Jordans, your Tom Brady, everybody, that kind of these guys look up to, and trying to show them a different perspective than just from me, and giving it a different avenue, but just try to, find different ways to reach different guys. Cause I know not everybody learns the same. We got our audible guys, we got, your visual guys. So I'm trying to give different avenues for everyone. That way I can maybe reach a message, to reach the whole team, but just different avenues. But man, it's just a grind every time you come up in here, and I want you to have fun while doing it.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. The mental aspect so key though, man. And because I'm just thinking back, like I said, spent so much time with my strength coaches, but every now and then I'm pushing myself to the limit where I'm about to throw up, and I got my coach in my ear still pushing me to go harder. And I'm like, man, but it's that mental game, man, that you got to work on it to push you through those moments, and things like that are so key, man, that mental aspect. Now let's call it what it is. Every now and then, there's a player who might not be given 100%. Back in the day, we called him a slacker. We would, not that they weren't a hard worker, but it happens every now and then. How do you deal with that situation when somebody's not giving their best?
I think that's where relationships come into place. And like you said, you spent most of the time with your strength coach, and that's, the same way it is today. And you got to get to know these guys. You got to get to know them. You got to get to know what pushes them. And for some of them, it might be, me getting after them, and chomping at them a little bit. And obviously there's guys here that wanted to fight me, and, they better strap up and get ready to rock and roll, because I'm going to fight too, but they know I love them.
Of course.
There might be some guys, and you might have to just come up, put your arm around. Hey, I know you got more than that. And that's all they need. So I think really just getting to know who you're coaching and how to coach them to maybe reach their full potential is the biggest part. But I don't think it's changed much. And that's the one great thing I can say about Southern Miss athletes is that we got old school athletes. We got guys that you can do that to, because believe me, I know that there are places, usually out west, that you might get in a little trouble coaching the way I coach.
Very cool right there, man. So, man, you're an inspirational guy. I mean, you're a hype guy. When I talk to the players about you, bring your name up, man, they immediately smile. They love you. You put all this work in the off season, getting them right, getting ready for the games, man. You're on the sidelines, you're one of them guys, getting the crowd up, getting the team up. Man, what's some good maybe sideline stories that maybe somebody wouldn't know, or you don't have to name names, or maybe like something that still makes you laugh to this day from the sidelines?
Oh, well, there's a bunch of them. Our I guess you would say play-by-play guy, Bo, little small Bo. I almost ran over him a couple times, just looking at the ball and, not paying attention to where I'm going. Obviously a lot of just chatter between, opposite teams, and, it makes playing football so much fun, because it really is a gladiator sport. It's a man's game, man. And, when you're out there, you can't let your feelings get in the way. Obviously sometimes, the guys on our sideline will be like, man, I don't want to hear that right now, man. It's just, it's almost like war, whatever's said down there, it kind of just stays there. And we don't bring it up again. We don't, harp on it. It's just, I know how I was as a player. And a lot of these guys, when you're, you're in that mode, when you're in that moment, I see your helmet in the background, man, and I can see with that black visor, I can imagine a dog behind that thing. Like, once you put that thing down, you're a different person. So I try not to bother them too much on game days, just because I know how much they work. I know what they, and nobody means to mess up, but, every now and then, we'll get to jawing at each other. And that's one thing I can say, man, we love each other, but we still kind of like big brother and little brother, where they'll come at me, I'll come at them, and then, hey, let bygones be bygones. And as soon as they go make a play, I'm jumping up, getting hyped with them. If you jump off sides and it's 3rd and 4, you're gonna hear my mouth. So it's just one of those things that the sideline is just a precious place. It is, like, what goes on there is so special. And obviously, but people that's never played football, man, they're missing out on what really happens on them sidelines.
Yeah, it's a special place, man. And so, you and Coach Hall got here, man, and let's be honest, to get the program back, you had your hands full. There were scholarship reductions. We had some losing ways there for a while, so it had to be a complete overhaul of the program. So year one, get things rolling a little bit late with the super back thing, which was so cool. Year two, man, kind of things start picking up here, man, and get to a bowl game, win the bowl game. How was that? Just that culmination. Finally, these guys get an awesome reward for 2 pretty dang tough years getting this thing back together.
Yeah. Oh, man. I think the one person that, you wanted it for the most was Coach Hall, because he poured his heart and soul into that first year. And you hate to say this the wrong way, but they just wasn't guys that bought in. They just didn't believe. They didn't see the vision that we had for them. And, we didn't have the pieces either, but he wore it on his sleeve every single loss, and he wanted it so bad for the guys. And year two, you start to see it rolling, and it could have got rolling a whole lot quicker, with make a play here, make a play there. Don't turn the ball over here or there. But to see it all come to fruition over in Mobile at the LendingTree Bowl, golly, man, those guys deserved it. The ones that stayed with us, especially. And I know one thing, the ones that did stay with us, they're going to be better men because of it. They're gonna look back at these moments of that first year to this year, and they're gonna have I guess you would say, a playbook on how to deal with tough times throughout their life, because they dealt with it. And it wasn't always easy, but just like Frank Gore and Brownlee and all of these guys that Hobbs and Cole Cavallo, just some guys that are like cornerstones of this program. Nate Brooks, just a Centrell Latham, golly, man, just some dogs that just laid it on out there every single time they went out. And I was just so happy that they got what they deserved.
Yeah, obviously, and people see on the field, the game itself, it's easy to kind of witness and stuff like that. But you've been behind the scenes with all these guys you just named, putting blood, putting sweat, putting tears for endless hours, getting them where they were. And you mentioned a name right there, one guy in particular, Frank Gore, man. He had a monster game, unprecedented yardage that he put up, man. When you watch Frank Gore put on that kind of show, did it put that extra smile on your face? Because his smile lights up a dang room. But did it put an extra smile on your face? Like, no, man, I put a hand in that a little bit, but, he's got to do the work. But how was that performance by Frank Gore for you?
Oh, awesome. And, a lot of people don't know it, but Frank is one of the hardest workers. He's going to come up in there early before practice. He's getting his body warmed up. He's getting primed up, ready to go. And, I think the fact that he does work like that sets him up to be put in positions, and obviously Coach Hall also, Coach Hall is all about winning. So Frank can throw, Frank can, we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that the best players get the ball in their hand. And, he's one of them. And just a quick little funny story on that. For the LendingTree Bowl, I needed some black tape to spat up Frank. So I had my wife go to Academy, hurry up. We had to run out there in the parking lot. It was about maybe 20 minutes before the game. Hurry up and spat him up real quick. That way he was looking good, because the last thing I wanted him to do is be worried about anything except for performing. Hey, and then he goes out there. So I tell my wife all the time, hey, you're a big reason for that, bold record right there.
Oh, heck yeah, man. No, athletes, man, even when I play, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. So he needed that spat, man, to play good. He did. So great work.
And I didn't want him to worry about anything else. So, hey, whatever you need, Frank, we're going to get it done.
And the magical feet got working in that bowl game, man. Got a question, man, a little away from Southern Miss. I got a 14-year-old son who does training and stuff like that. But a lot of times, man, parents are trying to just figure things out for their youngsters on ways to train. Where do I go? What avenue? What's some advice to maybe kind of that guy who's not in high school, or maybe early in high school, is not in college, figuring out a good athletic workout program, maybe specifically for football or everything you've dealt with a lot of sports. What's some advice for parents for maybe that 15 and under youngster who's trying to figure out, a good workout pattern, what I should be doing?
Yeah, I think just getting you to be able to, I guess you would say, throw your body around. I guess you would say, being able to control your body, push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups and all of those movements, they've been around forever, and there's a reason why. I think nowadays everybody's trying to create, trying to recreate the wheel. And it's just those principles are something that I don't think we can ever get away from. If you can't do a pull-up, I shouldn't have to, advance too much more, as far as trying to do some complex movements. But I would say that the other thing is just focusing on just the basics, the foundations, getting your body, the central nervous system firing the right way, working on speed training, I think is huge. Because I really think no matter what sport you play, if you can play it fast, you're going to be pretty dang good at it. So, speed coaches, I always put an emphasis on them, because if you could teach somebody how to run the way they don't develop bad habits early, I think that's huge. The speed ladder, a lot of people want to, compare that with speed training, which it ain't, but it's great for coordination. And I think that's the other part of it. Just getting kids coordinated to do some of these complex movements without the weight, whether it be using a mop stick or a broomstick or something like that, before we just go ahead and grab a bar. If you want them to do power cleans and split jerks and all of these snatches, well, start off with something that they can't hurt themselves with, and then slowly progress depending on how they, can handle it. Because usually the central nervous system is the first thing to kind of go. So if you can get that firing, the muscles and stuff will take over after that. So just getting them movement patterns down, I think, is the biggest part before adding any type of weights.
No, very cool advice right there for parents, maybe looking for something to do, make sure they do the right things for their youth. So quick backtrack to football, man. So 2023 football season, year 3 of you and year 3 of Coach Hall, man. Schedule's nice, man. We got a nice schedule in front of us, but this is year 3, man. A lot of people expected big things. What's some maybe different preparations, or maybe something outside the box you guys might be doing, or is it business as usual getting into this season?
I think it's business as usual, but I think we've added some key components. Obviously our quarterback room is a whole lot more competitive. I think the O-line is going to be a whole lot more improved. And I think the offense in general, and defensive wise, we still, got a couple areas where we need a, maybe, the linebacking room, we got a couple guys that are hurt right now that we're trying to bring back. But I think the one thing that we're going to have is a lot of experience. And we've got guys that's been there. They went to a bowl game. They finally won a bowl game. And, the schedule, to me, golly, I wouldn't want a better schedule, but and I know for you, you wouldn't want one either, as far as
anyone, anywhere, anytime, Coach.
Yeah, but that's the way we feel about it, and we're excited about the challenge and the opportunity, because, we're going to Florida State, going to Mississippi State, and I think we catch them all at pretty good times, because we catch Mississippi State right before the Egg Bowl, and Florida State in between LSU and Boston College. And, I think the Sun Belt Conference is a tough conference too. So if you can, handle your business with that type of schedule, man, and they go into 12 and there's a lot of things that, obviously I'm an optimist and I think optimistically, but I'm excited about the challenge. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to this season.
Hey, Coach, I would be doing myself and yourself a disservice if I don't talk about one win from last season in particular, because we're New Orleans guys, man. The Tulane game. I mean, wound up being a top 10 Tulane team, a road game. I'm not even gonna lie, man. When we won that game, first guy I'm thinking of, I got to go see Coach Lance downstairs by the locker room, man. Sure enough, we met up, man, hugged it out. What a huge win. What did that win mean to you personally, being a New Orleans guy, and it being such a huge win for the program?
Oh, well, just being a New Orleans guy, like you said, and obviously, Tulane, they didn't give me a shot. They didn't want me. Maybe I wasn't smart enough. I don't know what it is, but and just for Coach Hall too, I wanted it so bad for him. He was coming, from there, but just to do it and have some of my friends that I grew up with, being able to come to the game and seeing them after the game, and us just dapping each other up, and I used to go to Tulane baseball camp all the time when I was a kid, so I knew all about Tulane and history and everything else. And going back to that perfect season, we had guys from Shaw on the team. And, one of the best things about that whole experience was Chad Williams talked to the team before. And golly, man, he brought that fire. And we actually showed him a couple clips of you guys, you talk.
Yeah, a little talk, yep.
Dustin Allman and who else did we have?
I think Todd Pinkston and Latrell Pollard. And
Latrell Pollard, so those guys talked, and then you had Chad come up in there and kind of just set the tone. And man, everybody, when they left, they were ready to go to war that night. So there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to win it. But, we want to talk about an exciting time and winning the bell. That was the first trophy game that Southern Miss has probably won in a while. So just to bring that bell and see those guys hold that thing up, that's what you do it for. That's why you coach.
Oh, man, it was a special moment when Coach Hall came to the sidelines, getting the fans all up after the win. One of my favorite videos of all time, Coach Hall getting that hype, because it was like, finally, we got a big one. Here we go. So, Coach, man, great talk right there with Southern Miss, man. And family life. I mean, you got an absolutely beautiful family life going right now. Just got off vacation with the crew, had a little break. So, man, how's family life treating you? What's the latest there?
Oh, just, wonderful. I got 3 little ones, 10. My son Luca's 10. I got my daughter Emmy, who's 7, and my little one Olivia, who's 4. My wife Lauren, who I met up at North Alabama. So just so many blessings that I can't even count. But just a little kind of background on them. I had 2 NICU babies. My oldest and my youngest. We stayed in the hospital for a month with both of them, and you wouldn't even know it now, but that's just another blessing that kind of made me who I am and the man that I am. And, during those times you're thinking why, but, obviously when you go through that 2021 season and, those memories kind of come back to you. It's like, man, just keep on pressing on, just keep on believing, keep on pushing, and there's always something good on the other side. But I couldn't ask for a better family, better situation, and just so blessed to be, dad to those 3 and husband to my wife.
That's one thing I noticed about you. You love being a strength coach, but man, you love being a dad, and I love that about you. All right, getting into this 2023 season, what's something you want to tell the Southern Miss Nation, man, to get them ready? What's something maybe to get them going?
I would like to say just like we kind of almost are out of that stage of like trying to surprise people. It's almost like we're going on an attack this year, and it's time to start, bringing Southern Miss back to being that bully, that, that guy that, hey, you didn't want to mess with them. Like, they didn't mess with you, but hey, you put us on that doggone schedule, we ain't afraid of you, and you ain't a bully when it comes to us. So we're going back on the attack this year. We're going back to the way you guys were. And, we're excited about facing some of these, so-called blue bloods and, big time Power 5 programs that, SEC programs. And now we're going to have, we think, the team that can go up in there and duke it out with them.
Man, I love great words right there with the Southern Miss Nation. And kind of closing things out here, Coach. I mean, just, I said earlier in the show, whenever I talk to the players, man, they light up when I bring your name up, man. They just smile. They love working hard for you. Fans watching this, you won't find a more inspirational, motivational, and better leader of young men than Coach Lance Ancar right here. I appreciate all you're doing, man. And as always, Southern Miss to the top.
To the top, man. I appreciate it, Marchant.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed catching up with Southern Miss football head strength and conditioning coach Lance Ancar. Well, I got a story coming for you right now from 2002. It was a mascot fight for the ages. It was Southern Miss and Seymour. It was Alabama and Big Al. There were two mascots that went toe-to-toe for about 5 minutes and absolutely tore up the sidelines back then and got a little bit of trouble for it too. But I don't want to tell you the whole story. I'm going to let you hear it from the guy behind the Seymour mask, Jamie Arrington.
Let's talk about one of the most infamous mascot fights of all time. I'm talking about Seymour from Southern Miss versus Big Al of the Alabama Crimson Tide back in 2002. So prior to this game, I was performing as the Southern Miss mascot, and one of the Alabama mascots was a dear friend of mine. We worked Universal Cheerleaders Association camps during the summer, and we were rooming together at one of these events, and we kind of got the idea, okay, when we play each other this year, let's do something fun. Let's kind of go out. Let's do like a WWE style fight. So we met a few hours before the game. We blocked it out. We decided what all we were going to do. And this was kind of just for our own amusement as well as to attempt to entertain the crowd. So the whole theory behind it was not to have, we had a lot of respect for each other. So not really to have a winner, but I kind of get the edge on him in front of our crowd. He gets the edge on me in front of his student section. And then we kind of just square off and fall apart at the end. So once the fight gets started, we had this all blocked out. So like I hit him with the stone cold stunner. He gives me the old like shot to the crotch, throws me through the Alabama kicker's net. I toss him into the fence by his trunk. We just went back and forth. We get on his side of the field. He hits me with the rock bottom. I hit him with the Ric Flair slap. And by the time it was done, which is about 5 minutes worth of like fake brawling, it is WWE style. We were buddies. We both were thoroughly exhausted. But the aftermath from that was even more thoroughly entertaining to me. So we did several $100s worth of damage, breaking the Alabama kicker's net, breaking the megaphone of one of the cheerleaders. He had to go apologize to Coach Francione. I didn't get in any trouble at Southern Miss, but the Southeastern Conference issued a mandate that week that mascots were no longer allowed to interact while the game is going on, and that is still in effect today.
Well, thanks so much for sending that entertaining story into the show, Jamie Arrington. Well, that's it for another edition of Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please subscribe over there as well. Well, I thought we'd close the show with the actual full fight from 2002 between Big Al and Seymour. So here we go. And until next time, it's Southern Miss to the top.
Ball Bryant made the tackle for Southern Miss. A 5-yard gain to the 50. Fourth and 7. Lane Bearden in punt formation. Marvin Young deep to receive. Return on the punt. A 45-yard punt to the 5-yard line. Ball rolls out of bounds just over the 5. The ball carrier for Southern Miss. Anthony Bryant and others on the tackle.